I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Wednesday, July the 10th, 2013. Reuters reports that an Israeli military source told the news agency today that Israel is bulking up its forces along its border with Syria because of possible future threats from Lebanese Hezbollah militants. The source said that since threats made by Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah back in May to turn the Golan into a new front against Israel, more IDF troops and tanks have been sent up to the military outpost there. He also said that Israel was aware of the fact that Hezbollah has an intelligence presence in the Golan in order to gather information about Israel's deployment on the strategic area. He said of the Hezbollah intelligence force, it is not at an alarming level now, but we understand their intentions. The Anti-Defamation League added their voice today to the strong condemnation heard from officials in Israel of the attack on an ultra-Orthodox Israeli soldier in Jerusalem's Mea Shearim neighborhood yesterday. As you may have seen on IBA News, the soldier was attacked while visiting family in the ultra-Orthodox neighborhood by a group of ultra-Orthodox Jewish men who threw eggs at him and beat him and called him derogatory names. The soldier ran to a nearby building and was rescued by Israel police, who were also attacked by the group, and several arrests were made. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had strongly condemned the attack yesterday, along with others in the Israeli government. The ADL denounced the attack as well. Director of the ADL Israel office, Phyllis Jarabli, said that while reasonable people can disagree with and peacefully protest the proposed legislation, verbal incitement and physical acts of violence are unacceptable. Jarabli was referring there to a new Israeli law that would obligate ultra-Orthodox men to serve in the IDF, something that has been a highly controversial issue in the ultra-Orthodox community in Israel, with some, as in this recent incident, directing their anger towards those ultra-Orthodox men who are already serving in the IDF. A new draft of that law was approved by Israel's Ministerial Legislative Committee on Sunday. It now heads to the Knesset for final approval. 28 member countries of the European Union will soon be meeting to discuss placing Hezbollah on the group's terror list. And EU member Austria, which has up until now been against the designation, is now saying it is undecided. Its foreign ministry spokeswoman Isabella Pasci told the Jerusalem Post yesterday that Austria has requested information from the United Kingdom in order to make up their minds. The UK is leading the effort to place Hezbollah's military wing on the EU's terror list. Meanwhile, Dr. Matthew Levitt, who heads the counterterrorism program at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, addressed the EU in Brussels yesterday on the need to designate Hezbollah as a terror group. And he told the Jerusalem Post that while there are still several sticking points for a few member states, there is a very clear trend toward supporting a ban of Hezbollah's military wing here in Brussels. The American Jewish Committee released a statement yesterday calling on the EU to make that designation after Bulgaria recently reaffirmed its conclusion that Hezbollah was in fact behind the deadly terror attack last summer in the coastal city of Burgas that killed 5 Israeli tourists and a Bulgarian bus driver. AJC Executive Director David Harris urged EU member states to demonstrate moral clarity and take meaningful action against Hezbollah when those member states meet on July the 22nd in Brussels, just 4 days after the one-year anniversary of the deadly Burgas attack. A Hungarian court has suspended the trial of Nazi war criminal Laszlo Shattari just 3 weeks after it began. Hungarian news agency MTI reported that the Metropolitan Tribunal of Budapest said Shattari already may have been convicted and sentenced for some of the crimes attributed to him and cited double jeopardy. Shattari, who is now 98, was a police commander in the Kaza internment camp in Slovakia and was sentenced to death in absentia for his crimes in 1948 by a Czechoslovakian court. However, the Budapest prosecutor's office told MTI that the earlier ruling was immaterial to the current trial in Budapest and that the prosecutors would appeal the suspension. Shattari, who had been deported from Canada in 1997, was discovered by the Simon Wiesenthal Center and arrested last year in Hungary. He was indicted last month for crimes including torturing Jews and deporting them to their deaths during World War II. And finally, researchers from Jerusalem's Hebrew University announced that they have discovered part of a sphinx in the archaeological site of Tel Hatzor in northern Israel. Leading the research team are Professor Amnon Ben-Tor and Dr. Sharon Zuckerman, who found the base of the sphinx made up of its feet and toes. It contained a hieroglyphic inscription dating back to the 3rd millennium BCE, referencing the name of an Egyptian king, Mycerinus, who ruled Egypt more than 4,000 years ago and was responsible for the construction of one of the Great Pyramids in Giza. Ben-Tor and Zuckerman said that the Sphinx likely came from the ancient Egyptian city of Heliopolis and was likely brought to Hatzor either around the 17th or 16th centuries or between the 15th and 13th centuries BCE. It is the only known Sphinx of this king discovered anywhere in the world, including Egypt, and the only piece of a royal Sphinx sculpture discovered in the entire Eastern Mediterranean. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Wednesday, July the 10th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.